Hello everyone, it's me. I said hollow. You get it? Hollow? Hollow? And today we will be doing one of the most top requested experiments on this channel ever. What's the best hollow top coat? Let me just preface this by saying that this is a very tricky experiment, because it's not one of those things where one specimen is clearly better than the other. Much of it is up to personal preference. In other words, how much hollow do you want on your nails, or what kind of hollow effect do you want? The other thing is that I will only be testing 11 different hollow top coats I've acquired over the past year or so. Therefore, I don't have every single hollow top coat in the world. Apparently, some people think that this video series is unfair because I don't test every single product out there. But like, seriously, what do you think I am? Someone on Hoarders Buried Alive? Obviously, I don't have every single hollow top coat out there. But just to be clear, this video is about what my opinions are of the 11 that I will show you here today. Thought that was clear, but I guess I gotta spell it out for some people. Before we begin, if you don't know what a hollow is, there's another video for you that explains the difference between hollows and other shiny nail polishes. And if you don't know what a nail polish is, I'm not sure why you're here, but you've definitely found the weird part of the internet. We're glad to have you. In my What's a Hollow / Are You Holosexual video, I mentioned how there's two main kinds of hollow: linear hollow and scattered hollow. For today's video, I'm gonna pick my favorite hollow top coat from each group because they truly have different effects on the nail, and it all depends what kind of holosexual look you're going for. As always, I will link all the contenders in the video description box, but I'll also point out which top coats are indie, meaning made by smaller nail polish companies, and which ones are drugstore brands. I did get some of those, I know, wow, it's a miracle. First off, no nail experiment could be completed without my trusty peel-off base coat. Yellow nails taste so good. Without it, I wouldn't be able to do this. Nope, no I wouldn't. I would suffer a lot more than my nails have during my experiments. Next, I'm adding one coat of my favorite black polish from my What's the Best Drugstore Black Polish video, because hollow top coats are best seen over black. Fun fact. Let's start off with linear hollows. I've got 5 of them. First up, Starry Eclipse. All I can think of is Twilight for some reason. Is this hollow Team Edward or Team Jacob? You decide. You guys are no stranger to this top coat. You've seen me use it before because it is very hollowy, and by that I mean it has lots of rainbows. We get a pretty decent dose of hollow on the first coat. Just to control as many extraneous variables as possible, I'm only going to be applying 1 coat of each hollow top coat. Also, let's check out all the hollow top coats in 2 different sources of light. This was shot under regular CFL daylight bulbs, and this is with an added halogen bulb, which helps to bring out the hollow just a bit. Keep in mind that you can only see the magical rainbowy properties of hollow under direct light. So if you're taking pictures of your hollow nails in a light box, or with a soft box with a white sheet that diffuses the light, and your pictures of the hollow are dull and not rainbowy, that's why. You can't diffuse the light. That's like putting clouds in front of the sun. Light boxes are no hollow. Impromptu lighting lesson is now over. Let's resume the experiment. And what do we got here? We've got Prism Break by KB Shimmer. This one seems a little bit thicker in terms of the consistency of the polish. Let's see how it applies. The distribution of the hollows is okay, but for some reason this one seems a little cloudier and maybe not as hollow as the last one. Let's compare so people don't just trash me for being biased. They can see it for themselves with their own eyes. What a concept. Yep, the Starly one is definitely a little bit more hollow, as evidenced by the rainbow. Rainbows don't lie, don't you know? Let's move on to I Love Nail Polish's My Private Rainbow L. L stands for linear hollow. Ooh, fancy. Now, I Love Nail Polish has a couple other silver hollow polishes that could be used as a top coat like the Mega series, but according to their website, the My Private Rainbow series is intended to be the hollow top coat, so that's why I'm just using this one. Okay, this is sadly not really that hollowy at all. This is 1 coat. I really love most I Love Nail Polish hollows, but this particular one just doesn't have the same bam, hollow in your face effect, you know? Where are the rainbows? I see no rainbows. Now here's one I've already loved many times on this channel. LACQUER Diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Diamonds are forever, forever. Okay, that's enough. Christine, stop it. There are so many holos in this thing, and they are just so jam-packed tight together, and the rainbow is real. At one coat, this is, I already know, one of the best holos because look at that coverage. The coverage is real. Now check it out under halogen lights. Woo! The rainbows come alive, baby! Well, this comparison is really unfair because the I Love Nail Polish one has been the worst so far. Sorry, I had to compare you to Fun Lacquer. That's just the way the order went down, okay? Next up, Nicole by OPI's Imagine If... ... That's so cryptic, Nicole. So cryptic of you. So something doesn't really seem right about this polish because it kind of looks more silver than it does hollow. Maybe that's why it's called Imagine If. Imagine if this was actually hollow, guys. Just imagine, just pretend and buy it anyways. Why did I order this again? Oh yeah, I was on Amazon searching holo top coats and this came up for some reason. First you tricked me into thinking this was actually an OPI nail polish and then you tricked me into thinking this was hollow. Fooled me once. Shame on you. Fooled me twice. Shame on me. Ah, shit. For the record, there actually is hollow in here because I can see some rainbow, but I'm convinced that there's also some silver crap in there that is not hollow. It kind of looks a little to me like they were trying to dilute the hollow and cut a little bit of corners, huh? Shame. So much shame. Now we're moving on to the scattered holo top coats. In other words, these holos are less dense, more dispersed, and the size of the holo particle is usually larger. Let's start off with Revlon holographic pearls, cause bam, drugstore, yeah, get my drugstore on. I mean drugstore, yay. So this is pretty jam-packed with holo, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. I don't see any sign of diluting holos here. Every single tiny sparkle looks hollow to me. This is good, kids. I'd actually never used this before. This is the first time I use this, and I am thoroughly impressed right now. Oh, look at that holo drip and smear all over. I would love these as a pearl necklace. Just for fun, let's compare it to that lame excuse for a holo top coat. Yep. There you have it, folks. Us holosexuals can spot a faker in no time. Next, let's try out Falling Star by Quo by Orly. For those of you who don't know what the hell that is, that's because it's only sold in Canada. Yes, I am Canadian. That's why I say A sometimes, eh? Hey. So this one's pretty similar to the Revlon one. The holo particles might be a tiny bit smaller. I don't see any cloudy crap dilution of the holos going on here, so that's good. I filmed this in the wrong order, but here's me applying Falling Star beside Shady Nicole. Shady equals cloudy. Let's move on to this holo top coat. I forget the name. If you didn't just shout out, "That's not a holo top coat" at your screen, then I am very disappointed you weren't taking notes in my last class. This was basically a trick just to see if you were really paying attention. The polish is NCLA's party favorite, spelt the American way, and it's made up of tiny iridescent glitters. They are definitely sparkly and have an element of color shifting, sort of borderline rainbow to them, but they're not actually holographic. It's kind of like the same material unicorn skins, except this was chopped up into tiny little pieces. Another test you can do to spot the holo is to blur everything. While on the left you are seeing a lot of different colors come through, ranging from orange to yellow to green to blue, but with the one on the right you get the full rainbow treatment, because that one is actually holo. That was the one we just tested. And here's another look at the difference, which reinforces my point about the rainbow even more. Just ask yourself which puddle looks more attractive to unicorns, and you shall find the answer, my friends. Next up, Salon Perfect Cosmic Dust, 613. Oh, that's the Ottawa telephone area code. Coincidence? Probably not. I got this one at my local drugstore, but then I researched it and found that it's really not a prominent brand at all because you can't even get this on Amazon. What? So maybe it's not actually a drugstore nail polish to you, but it is to Canadians. Anyways, it's got some beautiful holographic rainbows in there. I'd say it's a little bit more dispersed than the last couple we've seen of the scattered group, and the particles might be even smaller. Let's move on to China Glaze Fairy Dust. This one's a timeless classic. Even memes have been made about it. Its hollow pieces are on the slightly smaller side, just a bit. Does size matter for holo top coats? I don't know, you tell me. That's a very personal, intimate question. It's rainbowy under all the different kinds of lights, and I see no dilution of the holos at all. This is good. Things are going very well so far. I'm applying it beside the last one we just tried, and like, they look very similar. In fact, I kind of think they're almost dupes. Are these dupes? Let's analyze closer. Someone get the microscope. Wow, it's amazing how exactly the same they look. Does China Glaze own Salon Perfect? What's going on here? Nail polish conspiracy. We're almost done, I promise. This is Orly's Prisma Glass Silver, because they also have a gold one. It looks a little bit more jam-packed than the last couple we've seen, so this could be interesting. But as I'm applying it, I noticed that there is something up with this polish that I can't put my finger on. Well, I can put it on my finger though. It definitely appears super hollow when you blur it, but as I get up close, I can't help but notice that it looks like there's tiny little shards that aren't actually hollow. See how there's some little pieces that aren't the same shape and it kind of looks like they were chopped up in a messy machine? That could be a hint. Maybe hollow top coats really are like diamonds. They're not all cut with quality. And finally, I'm gonna try Northern Lights Hologram Top Coat in silver. I know what it looks like, but you have to shake it. This polish is very different from the rest because whatever base it's suspended in doesn't actually mix around the holos normally, so you gotta do it yourself. Sounds like more work to me, but if it pays off, I'm willing to do it. Ooh, hollow sticker, pretty. This one is way more liquidy and watery than all the others. You can see the polish just kind of drip right off the brush. Not necessarily a bad thing if you know how to control your brush. At first glance, it's obvious that this is definitely way more dispersed than all the others I've tried so far, but it's not lacking in hollow. I mean, look at that rainbow. Oh my god, it's so rainbowy, it's beautiful. Like I was saying at the beginning of this video, it really depends on what effect of hollow you want. If you want the hollows to be more dispersed, then this is a great one, but if you want more hollow, then this one probably isn't your best choice. Here's another look at how it compares to the Orly one I just tried. Even though the one on the right is more dispersed and there's not as many hollows in them, not that I'm gonna count them, it definitely reflects more rainbows than the one on the left. And I think that's because the Orly had some chopped up pieces of silver or glass-like flecks that weren't actually hollow. And that concludes the showdown. Let's rank the contenders. For linear hollow top coats, I think it's pretty obvious that the fun lacquer one is the holobomb.com. It's so jam-packed and hollow-tastic and oh so satisfying. Look at that flare, just look at it. I would say that the Starly one comes in second for me because it's a little less dense, but it's still super rainbowy. KB Shimmer got some points because the name is legit. Prison Break fans, anyone? But that prison forecast is a little too cloudy for me. I love nail polish, I'm sorry, but I think the rainbow was too private that we couldn't see it. And lastly, Nicole, get out of here. You're basically not even hollow, kind of like how you're basically not even OPI. Goodbye. Moving on to the scattered hollow top coats, and this one was much trickier because there wasn't necessarily one that was more bam than the others, you know? But I'm gonna have to go with Revlon Holographic Pearls as the winner, because that is some serious hollow payoff in just one coat. It's so rainbowy, the tiny hollows have a really nice shape, and you can get it at the drugstore. That's probably why I'm most impressed. You win this one, Revlon. Quo by Orly comes in second because Canadians love getting second place at the Olympics. In third place, we've got ourselves a tie between China Glaze and Salon Perfect because they literally look the exact same. Both applied the same on the nail, on paper. Can anyone see a difference? Next, I'm gonna have to go with the Northern Lights top coat because even though it's super diluted and watery compared to the rest, the hollows are actually hollowy as f***. Maybe that's because it's sitting in a super glossy base, I'm not sure. Lastly, I'm gonna have to say I'm sorry, Orly. Even though you were definitely jam-packed with hollows and pretty dense, I'm not so in love with the random shards in there. They're a little deceptive. I'm not even sure if they're real. You almost need a real microscope and shit to see it, but I think that's what I'm seeing. NCLA doesn't get a rank because it's not hollow, and it was only included to test your loyalty to the Hollow Kingdom. Now let's have some fun and put the winners over different colors. I threw on 5 random plain creme shades to see what kind of magic the hollows would do to them. Here's Fun Lacquer Diamond over all the colors. You can see that it really pops best when layered over darker colors like the purple, although the nude one is nice and soft and pretty. Maybe if you're going to brunch with your grandma. And the white, I thought that would be cool, but you really can't see it that much. And here's Revlon holographic pearls over all the same colors, and the effect is definitely quite different. Again, the rainbows reflect best when layered over darker polishes. One thing I want to point out about holo top coats is that sometimes if you're putting a holo top coat over a nail art design, you may not actually want to use the most dense holo top coat because it may cloud or cover the design. Here's some cases where maybe the holo top coat covered up the design a little bit. I don't know, it's really all so subjective. It definitely works better over darker colors though, as you can see. And what the hell is that? I don't know, but I was trying to save it with holo. Now this one, on the other hand, the design called for the holiest holo of them all. Here's some examples where I used a holo top coat that was a bit more dispersed so you could see the pattern a little bit better. And so, in summary of the amazing experiments we undertook today, to some degree a holo can be quote-unquote better than another because of its ability to reflect rainbows. But in terms of density, it's really all about the look you're feeling, you know? What do you feel like today, linear or scattered? How scattered do you want to be? The choice is yours. And of course, when in doubt, just sponge that shit everywhere. Who cares if people say too much holo, because can't see the haters, blinded by the holo. Haters gonna hate, and holo's gonna holo. And that's it for today. Please subscribe to my channel because if you're not already a holosexual, you want to be one. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Bye!